Welcome, ladies. Welcome to day 4 of the Food Freedom Challenge. This is your host, Courtney, and I'm so excited that you guys are here. And today we are talking about how you can get night cravings under control. And we're going to be doing that with some nutrition today, and we're going to be talking about all the amazing benefits of adding a dietary fat into your nutrition. So hopefully some of you guys will come on live. I've been having so much of a good time listening to you guys' comments and your messages, hearing about your wins. So please, I want any win, okay? Any win this week. So even if you just watched a few minutes of one of my live streams, or maybe you caught one of my reels, I want you to post any wins that you've gotten from this challenge this week. Pop those into the comments. So we have been here. This is day 4. Day 1, we talked all about common mistakes that women make when it comes to putting a stop to cravings, binge eating, and getting the weight off for good. So we talked all about how being too depriving, doing crash diets is more than likely going to lead you to overindulge later. So we want to prevent that, right? We also talked about how a lot of women who are trying to lose weight and put a stop to binge eating, how they try to use willpower. And we talked about how that doesn't work because willpower is limited. It's just like a battery that behavior. But unfortunately, that doesn't work either, because I know I can think of some people that go to the gym and they're very dedicated, but yet their body never changes. I think we all know that person who is religious about going to the gym and working out and sweating, but it just seems like their body never changes. And that is because more than likely they are unintentionally overeating. And here's the thing, we really shouldn't be using exercise as a way to burn calories. We need to be working out to build muscle, to build bone density, to improve our mood, to improve our activities of daily living, being able to be independent. So using exercise as a way to burn calories or to correct your nutrition is just not a great way to lose weight and keep it off. So what does it take? So we talked all about that on the first day. We talked about how people that are successful with long-term weight loss, they don't diet all the time. They implement a modest calorie deficit instead of a steep one, because again, steep calorie deficits can lead to binge eating behavior, okay? It causes a boomerang effect. We talked about how even bodybuilders will do this. They'll diet for 6 months or so for a show, but a lot of times you'll see these bodybuilders, as soon as they step off stage, they start binging, because it's in our physiology, right? In our psychology. It's one of those things, it happens to all of us. It doesn't matter how disciplined you are. So that just shows that this isn't like a you problem. This is literally a human problem. So the way to do this, the way to lose weight and keep it off, is to learn things like flexible diet, being able to fit your favorite foods into your nutrition so that way you don't feel deprived. It's implementing a modest calorie deficit instead of a steep one that can lead to binge eating later. And it also takes learning mindfulness and moderation. So those are the skills that we're learning this week. So mindful eating is all about paying attention to your hunger and fullness cues and knowing the difference between physical hunger and emotional hunger, which we'll be talking about in more detail tomorrow on the last day of the challenge. And then there's moderation, which we are going to be talking more about today. And I have a special tool for you all to implement in order to start practicing moderation, and that is with preemptive cheats. So moderation, to sum that up, what exactly is moderation? Moderation is all about satisfaction. It's another word for satisfaction. It means not depriving yourself, but it also means not eating to stuffed either. It's finding that middle ground between depriving nutrition behavior and all out binge eating, okay? So whenever we can find moderation, so this is going to include making a more moderate choice. So instead of making a choice of grilled chicken that's dry, nothing on it, steamed broccoli and steamed white rice. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have the chicken Alfredo with extra Alfredo sauce. And we have 6 breadsticks, and then we have a salad, and then we also, of course, have a couple of glasses of wine and dessert, right? So that's where a lot of us women will kind of live. We kind of ping pong back and forth between these two extremes, but moderation is all about finding the middle ground. So I'm really excited to share this with you. Before we move into today, I just want to say yesterday was so much fun. So yesterday was all about protein. So if you guys did not be able to watch that live, I did post the replay in our group. So we talked about common foods that a lot of people think are high protein, but they're not. I even included a short little clip from yesterday's live stream in the group. So make sure you guys go into the group. So I love this challenge so much and this approach because some of it is mindset, and that's really the missing piece. Like just becoming aware of mistakes that you're making. Like even that can give you a huge result just by knowing about these mistakes and correcting them if you are making them. And then also some of this is going to be nutritional because here's the thing. If you are binge eating, more than likely, I'm going to guess this, okay? If you're binge eating at night, or maybe it's on the weekends, or maybe it's not all the time, but you find yourself overeating, at some point, here's the thing. I'm willing to bet that you try to control your calories. Maybe you follow low calorie diets or you try to keep your meals as small as possible. And I'm also willing to bet that you try to keep your meals low fat. Maybe you try to avoid things like full fat dressings. You avoid things like butter and cheese and cream, any kind of dairy. You also are very wary about any kind of dips or toppings or full fat dressings. And I'm also willing to bet that you struggle with cravings. Again, sometimes it'll be at night. Some of you might experience cravings on the weekend. And some of you all can even like diet for weeks at a time. But then at some point, usually something will happen. Like something in your life will happen that triggers the urge to overeat or to eat a particular food, okay? So if this is happening, you're definitely in the right spot because here's the thing. More than likely, yeah, there could be some mindset stuff involved as well, but more than likely, you probably just need to, A, probably add more calories to your nutrition. B, you probably need to either add some protein and or some dietary fat, okay? So here's the thing. If you're my age, I'm 43, almost 44, and I remember the low-fat movement of the 80s and the 90s. Is anyone with me? Let me know in the comments if you remember the low-fat movement where everything was fat-free. I remember like, oh, I can eat as much of this as I want. I was really young back then, but I remember that even like having a diet mentality, even at like age 13. I remember looking at, what were they, like Fig Newtons maybe? What were the Snackwell? I think it was the Snackwell snacks. You guys remember the Snackwell snacks? But I remember my mom, she was always like a big dieter. So we always had foods like that in the kitchen. So I remember like being like 12, 13 and like thinking to myself, like, I can eat as many of these as I want because they're fat free, right? But here's the thing, like fat has a bad rep. So let's kind of break that down because I think that fat gets a bad rep and it's unfortunate because here's the thing. This might be very well the macronutrient that you just need to add a little bit more of so you feel more satisfied. It's going to help you enjoy your meals more, and it's also going to help you avoid cravings as well, especially when you're eating enough calories and you're eating adequate protein, just like we talked about in day 3. So that's what I want to say about that. The thing is though, like it has such a bad rep because it is high calorie, okay? But here is the thing about that, okay? If you do not eat enough dietary fat, it is actually not great for your hormones, okay? So that's the first thing I want to say. Second of all, I don't think we need to be scared of dietary fat. I think it can be a good thing, but we do need to be wary about portions because here's the truth. Carbs and protein both have 4 calories per gram. Dietary fat is actually more around, 9 calories per gram. Okay, so that's something to remember here. All right. So, yes, you need to be wary of it, but here's what I tell people to do. Okay. If you want an easy formula for building a meal, here is what it is. You want to base your meals off of protein. Most of us do not get enough protein. So we talked yesterday about how animal protein is king. You definitely want to include some kind of protein into each meal. And honestly, you do not need to stress about it, okay? Like we did talk yesterday about how I recommend 90 grams of protein at a bare minimum for women, all the way up to working up to your body weight in grams, or you can go for your goal body weight. If you have a weight loss goal, you can go for goal body weight. That would be great as well. But that's generally where you want to fall. But if this creates a lot of noise for you, just make it easy on yourself and simply look at your meal and be like, does this have protein? Yes or no? Like, it's as simple as that. That is good enough of a place to start, okay? So you want to base your meals off of protein. Generally, you can have some starch, so you can have some kind of carbohydrate. So this could be any kind of vegetable, whether it is a non-starchy veggie or a starchy veggie. You could also do some kind of other carbohydrate, so fruit, you can do grains. All of those are great. I would say just like a small serving, so like a quarter of your plate in carbohydrates. And then you just want a little bit of fat. So we do need to remember that, right? So yes, it is very calorie dense, dietary fat is, but if you think about it in this context, just like a thumb or two of dietary fat, then you're golden, right? So that is like the formula. So you want to start with base your meal off of protein. And again, don't overthink it if you're just getting started with this work. Does this meal have protein? Yes or no? Okay. And if you guys haven't picked up my protein hacks guide, comment protein and I can send that right over. This has lots of great options for getting enough protein into your diet. And also not only that, but outside of the box sources, as well as some recipes with the macros. So you guys know exactly what you're consuming. So comment protein and I can send that your way. Okay. So we're going to go over some dietary fats. And then we're going to be talking, actually, let's talk about preemptive cheats first. I want to go in that direction and then we can kind of break down some options. But so that's the great thing about dietary fats. Yes, we need to be careful, but as long as we're basing our meals off of protein, a little bit of carbohydrate, so I would say like a fist size or like a quarter of your plate, and then just like a thumb or two of dietary fat, okay? If anyone is live, I can't tell if anyone's live or not. If anyone's live, can you let me know if you can hear me? I keep getting like slow internet connection. And I also want to make sure that you guys can hear with my mic on, okay? So pop in the comments, let me know if this sounds okay, and let me make sure that you guys, it's not like fuzzy or anything. But here's how you're gonna do a preemptive cheat. This is a tool to help you with moderation, okay? Being able to find that middle ground between depriving and going all out, right? We want to avoid that because we tend to like go back and forth between those two extremes. And that causes a lot of yo-yoing, really with like highs and lows with our nutrition. And a lot of times, even though you might have some lows in your nutrition, you're probably going to have enough highs to where you're in a calorie surplus. Okay, so that's why we want to avoid being too strict, just like we talked about in day 2, okay? So this tool called Preemptive Cheats is a great way to anticipate cravings. It's gonna help you add flavor to your meal so you don't feel deprived, so you're not like feeling snacky like in the middle of the afternoon. We all know that, like, you know that feeling when you know you kind of like ate too skimpy of a lunch and now it's affecting you at 4 p.m. and you're like, you know, you're going after the chips. Not to say that that's bad, but here's the thing. I do think, because I used to be one of those people, I would try to skimp and try to eat like really low calorie meals. But all that did was just make me more hungry and have more cravings, right? So a preemptive cheat is really adding some kind of dietary fat to your meal, or you can add some kind of fun, like processed foods, as long as it doesn't feel like a trigger food to you right now, okay? So inside of my one-on-one coaching program, Moderation 365, which is going to open up next week, I have spots for 8 ladies. It is a one-on-one high touch coaching program. And the goal is to help you get the highs and lows out of your nutrition and eat the same on Saturday as you do on Monday. So we actually do exposure therapy in the one-on-one Moderation 365 program. So basically what exposure therapy is basically exposing yourself to a trigger food, like any kind of food that you don't trust yourself around, any kind of food that you have a tendency to overeat on. And we purposely expose you to that trigger food. So that way we take it off the pedestal, and that's going to help you lower that desire for that food. So I do suggest that you do not use a trigger food. Okay. So that means, again, anything that you overeat on. Okay. Now, can you work on this and then eventually that trigger food could be a preemptive cheat? Absolutely. Okay. But I would choose foods that you know that you're not going to overeat on, if that makes sense. Okay. Let me know if this is making sense. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments. Okay. But here's how a preemptive cheat is going to work. You want to do at least one. Some people do 2 a day. Sometimes people even do 3. But it's literally picking out some kind of dietary fat or some kind of like yummy snack. And usually it's going to be healthy-ish, okay? I wouldn't say like do like a big calorie bomb. I would say do something that is not like a depriving choice, but it's also not like a super indulgent choice, like a slice of cheesecake, right? So that's what I suggest. So I'll give you some good examples here in just a moment. But here we go. I'm going to go ahead and put this on my tank. Hopefully this doesn't affect my sound. All right, I think that's good. Let me know if you guys, if you're here, pop in the comments. And I do apologize. A lot of times I don't see the comments coming in. It frustrates me. I'll see them later, but I don't see them while we're live. Okay, so I'm actually going to share with you my preemptive cheats that I do personally, okay? So I have 2 that I do quite a bit, and then I have a 3rd one that sometimes I'll add as well, or I'll swap them out. But these are the main ones, but actually I do all of these at some point. But you guys can change these up every day if you want to, just depending on what your menu is, okay? So one that I do every single day is I add fun shit to my coffee, okay? So I don't know about you guys, but I used to be one of those people that went to like Starbucks or Heroes or some kind of coffee shop like every freaking day. And you know, like, I think that's okay to do, but here's the thing. It was starting to cost a lot of money, first of all. Like, I was going out and I started tallying, I'm like, that's a lot of money monthly to go out for coffee, okay? The other issue was that I knew I was spending a lot of calories on my coffee, okay? So I started doing coffee at home, but I'm one of those people, I hate black coffee, and I see women do this all the time. They will drink black coffee as a way to, like, you know, lower the calories, but I'm telling you, that just freaking pisses me off. So I add half and half to my coffee. Do you guys add half and half or like anything yummy to your coffee? Let me know. I know there's so many things out there, but half and half does a trick for me. I think I also talked about yesterday. Okay, I think we're still good. I got like a blinking battery light. So pray for me that we will keep the battery. And if I go out, please let me know. But I personally love to have half and half. And like I was saying yesterday, I make a protein coffee. So I'll even add some protein powder to this with hot coffee. And then I just put it in my blender that locks. And I blend it for about 5 seconds. And it makes this frothy cappuccino. You could also add heavy whipping cream. Again, very high calorie, but just a little bit, like a half tablespoon, a tablespoon can really add a lot of good flavor for about 50 calories. Shoot, I've even done cacao butter. Cacao butter is delicious. It's basically unsweetened chocolate. I used to get the disc and then I would throw it in my blender with a little bit of half and half and blend that up, and it is so freaking good. I stopped buying it though because it got really expensive. I think there's some kind of shortage with cacao butter, but super healthy for you, very high fat, 0 carb, 0 sugar. So that's the first one that I do, is some kind of half and half, or sometimes I'll do like heavy whipping cream in my coffee. All right, next up, we are going to talk about salad dressing. I've talked about my chicken Caesar a lot in this group. This is a salad that I just love. It tastes really good. I kind of go through different phases with salads, but right now is my chicken Caesar salad. It's very high fat. It's around 600 calories, and a lot of people are like, holy shit, you eat a 600 calorie salad for lunch every day. I'm like, yeah, I do. But here's the thing. I do not have any desire to snack in the afternoon. I used to be one of those people at 4 o'clock every day. I would have this urge to like eat whatever the fuck was in the pantry, right? And it usually was like things like chips or crackers, just like empty calories that actually didn't even really fill me up. So yeah, I do a 600 calorie chicken Caesar salad. I personally like full fat dressing. I think it tastes way better. I just kind of get pissed off when I have a light dressing. Totally, I get it. You know, if you're trying to lose weight, it could be a great option to do like a lower fat dressing. I personally would rather cut other things, you know, other fat somewhere else or other calories somewhere else. But one of my favorite salad dressings is just this Ken's Steakhouse Creamy Caesar dressing. It's really freaking good. It is 170 calories, but has 1 gram of carb. Hey, it has 1 gram of protein. And I mean, here's the thing, like, yeah, salad dressing that's bottled is not 100% clean. Like, it has some soybean oil, but honestly, I haven't fucking died yet, so it doesn't hurt my gut. So I say, screw it. All right. Okay, I still got green. I hope I'm still going. That reminds me, I need to charge before tomorrow. All right. This is what I was kind of talking about earlier. So Built Bars are great. They taste like candy bars. I actually have not tried the cookie dough chunk yet. I usually get the brownie batter, I believe it's called. But this is exactly what I was talking about, like having kind of like a more moderate choice. Like you could totally do this with like a Snickers bar, but I do want you guys to kind of make more like a moderate choice. So that's going to be nuanced, right? Like for me, this is a moderate choice, right? Like something a little more indulgent would be like a candy bar. So this is great because here's the thing, it's actually going to fill you up. Let's look at the stats. So 160 calories. There is 15 grams of protein and 19 grams of carbs. Okay, so again, this is not like the best choice ever, but here's the thing. You know, like it has protein in it. It tastes fucking good. And it's going to help you guys like have less cravings, right? So the whole point of preemptive cheat is to plan on having something like half and half, right? Full fat dressing. Maybe keep some protein bars whenever you have a sweet tooth. Like this is what I love to eat when I have a sweet tooth, right? Because at least I'm like, okay, I'm not like, you know, it's got some carbs and a little bit of sugar in it, but you know what? Like at least it tastes good and it has some protein in it, right? So I feel better about eating this, and I'm not going to overeat on this. Like I'm going to have 1 bar and I'm going to move on, right? Like I'm not going to be tempted to eat more because it has the protein in it, right? You guys can also do, sometimes I'll even do like Hershey Kisses. I like any kind of like individually wrapped chocolate. If you guys are chocolate fans, I think things like Hershey Kisses are great. I think you can do 7 kisses for like 160-ish calories. I won't even do that much though. I might just do like 3 after a meal, just to kind of, you know, have like a little dessert for after my lunch or after my dinner. But that's what I do. And again, this is going to help you avoid the munchies later, okay? We are just, so those are my preemptive cheats, but I want to ask you, if you've gotten any ideas so far of what you want to try for your preemptive cheat, pop that into the comments. And also, if you signed up for the challenge, you actually did get a copy of my preemptive cheat sheet. It is a PDF explaining preemptive cheats and also has lots of great ideas on how you can implement. So if you want a copy of it, comment, let's say cheat sheet, and I will send the preemptive cheat sheet your way. But if you did sign up for the challenge, it is in today's email. I have like a little link that you can click on, and it's right there, okay? Otherwise, if you did not sign up for the challenge, comment cheat sheet, and I will send that over your way. But just so you guys know, because I'm wondering if some of you guys have any questions about what exactly is dietary fat, what kind of foods are dietary fat. So obviously, this is a dietary fat, right? We have half and half. We also have this full fat dressing, right? So these are high fat foods. Another one that I like is sour cream. You know what? I actually use this as a condiment. This is kind of funny. I like this like on vegetables. Like the other night I was dipping my steak and my broccoli in some sour cream. I know that sounds really weird, but I like it because for 2 tablespoons, it's only 50 calories, right? I mean, it's basically a fat, but it doesn't really have a lot of calories in it. So, and this is full fat. Of course, you guys can do like a light sour cream. I personally think, again, that's just my preference. But if you guys are watching calories, you could try a light one, but that's really going to be up to you. Personally, it depends on what it is. I might do some like low fat cheese, but things like this, I'm like, I'd rather go for the taste and cut calories in another place versus doing a light version. But you could absolutely do a light version. Let's see, cheese, any kind of cheese, y'all. Obviously, if you have some issues with dairy, you know, you might want to look into maybe some like dairy-free cheese. I love cheese. It doesn't seem to bother me. This has all amino acids in it. So even though it is a fat, there is still protein in it. And because it's animal, right, it's going to have all essential amino acids. So all of the building blocks for building muscle. But I put this on everything. So omelets, I put it on tacos or taco bowls. You guys can really put this on anything. Baked potatoes, right? I always have shredded cheese. You guys can do mozzarella sticks. I love that. I have some of those in the fridge as well. Those are always a great addition to any meal or a snack. I also like to get like a good block of like some Gouda cheese. So, all right, I think we're still good. So cheese is absolutely a great preemptive cheat that you guys can do, okay? I also like butter. Butter, guys, butter has a bad rep. Yeah, there is about 100 calories in just a tablespoon, so like that much. But, you know, like I don't put it on everything, but sometimes I'll put it on top of a steak. Definitely use real butter for a baked potato. Sometimes I'll cook things like salmon in butter. So I love butter just for adding a little bit of good dietary fat and lots of freaking flavor. And then we also have mayonnaise. This is not the cleanest one in the world, but this is the one that is my favorite. There is a very clean one called Primal Kitchen. Again, guys, I'm just not a coach who gives a shit about like, oh, all this stuff is going to kill you. No, it's not. Like, so I get it if you're concerned about that. I'm just not, because it doesn't bother me. I haven't died yet. I don't have any adverse effects from eating processed food. So I'm going to continue to eat processed foods. And I think for most people, I just feel like, you know, I just think that most of the health coaches and trainers out there are just like, don't eat that. Don't eat that. Don't ever have fun. Like, fuck all that. Like, guys, if this is in your budget and it tastes good and you don't have any issues with it, just get something like this, right? Like, this is the olive oil. I like it. The taste is great. You know, again, it's probably not the cleanest thing, but 1 tablespoon is 60 calories. So yes, you need to watch it. I do things like make a deviled egg salad with this. Just some hard-boiled eggs, salt and pepper, mayonnaise, and a little bit of Dijon. Sometimes I'll put like some chopped red onion maybe in there. That's really good. And then I also really, really like to make a homemade honey mustard. So you just mix mostly the mayonnaise. So you're just going to put a little bit of Dijon in there. So you want a bigger ratio of mayonnaise to Dijon mustard. And then you can either add honey. I like to do liquid stevia. It just helps it control calories. But any kind of sweetener is great. All right, and then we also have whole eggs. So yesterday we talked about the pros and cons of egg whites versus whole eggs. Yes, they are very expensive right now, but you know what? I actually did the math. Like, they're about $6 at Aldi in Bentonville right now, in Bentonville, Arkansas. It still only comes up to about 50 cents per egg. I usually eat maybe like 1 or 2 depending on what I'm eating, but I love whole eggs for things like breakfast sandwiches. You can do things like, I like personally like a runny egg on top of a hamburger. Like, that's really good, like a hamburger patty. I'll do like avocado, and then I'll do like a fried egg on top. So freaking good. So yeah, I actually just kind of use eggs sometimes as a condiment. I absolutely love doing like a whole egg omelet with some cheese, some shredded cheese, and some vegetables. Really, really good. But you know, these are high fat, right? So these are about 70 calories per egg versus egg whites. Like, you can eat a shit ton of egg whites for very low calories. So it really just depends on what your meal looks like. But I do both. I personally love whole eggs. I think they have they have lots of great nutrients in the yolk, and the yolk is super satisfying. So those are all of my favorite fats. So let me know if you guys have any ideas on what you want to do for your own preemptive cheats, and pop those into the comments. I really want to know. And don't forget to comment preemptive, or actually just say cheat sheet. If you comment cheat sheet, I will send you a link to sign up for my free preemptive cheat sheet. So that is about it. I don't see any comments. Hopefully I'm seeing this. I'm a little worried. But anyway, thanks so much for being here this week. And we have one more day. And I also want to end with this, y'all. Like, some of you I've reached out to, like some of you all that have signed up for the challenge. And then I knew I was going to hear this. Courtney, I feel behind. Oh, I wasn't able to catch that. It's okay. It's okay, guys. I understand that you have a million things to do. So don't feel like, oh, I can't do this work. I promise you this work is actually very simple, and probably more simple than what you're doing right now. So I just want you to know, no one is like here every single day and like, you know, opening every email and you know, downloading everything. Like, nobody is doing that, right? Like, I wanted to do this challenge so you guys have the materials to go through it in your own time. So if you signed up for the challenge, you guys can bookmark my emails. Another thing that I've done is I've created a playlist on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. So if you want the link to the replays, comment replay, and I will send the link to all of the replays your way, okay? You can just watch them in your own time. I also want to say, if you actually signed up for the challenge, you get like a little 3 to 5 minute video each day explaining, so kind of like a shortened version of the live. I just love coming on here and like really elaborating on what each day is. So that's why I've been a little lengthy on these live streams. But if you signed up for the challenge, don't forget that there is a challenge video every day. That's just 3 to 5 minutes with the challenge for each day, okay? All right, so your challenge for today, now that we're here, your challenge is to download the preemptive cheat sheet. So comment cheat sheet, I will send that your way. And then I want you guys to post. You guys can create your own post in the group. You could also just comment on this video. And I want you to let me know 1, 2, up to 3 preemptive cheats that you are going to start implementing this week and next week and moving forward, okay? So remember, any kind of dietary fat, so any kind of dairy, butter. Oh, how can I forget avocado? Avocado guacamole, right? So hopefully that gives you some ideas, and even as simple as just putting some cream in your coffee, right? And don't forget about yummy processed food. So we want to pick something, again, like a Built Bar, you know, something that's like kind of healthy, but not like super clean. That's what I suggest doing for a preemptive cheat. So either a dietary fat or something yummy like this that has a little bit of protein. It's got a little bit of nutritional value to it. So that's it for today. Tomorrow is our last day of the challenge. You guys have been doing so well. I'm so proud of you for showing up, and you should be proud of yourself as well. Even if you just caught a few minutes here and there, I totally get it. I know you guys have a million things to do. So no worries. You guys can go through the challenge in your own time. And I'm going to do this challenge again in probably about 6 weeks. So you're going to have another opportunity if this just isn't a good time for you. But tomorrow we are going to be talking more about mindful eating. So today was all about moderation with the preemptive cheats. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about mindful eating. This is a buzzword. It gets a bad rap. Like, people are like, Courtney, I don't know how mindful eating is going to help me. It's like, here's the thing. If you have 2 modes, starving and stuffed, you need mindful eating. If you don't know the difference between physical hunger and emotional eating, hunger, you definitely need mindful eating, okay? It definitely is not going to hurt. So yeah, it sounds woo-woo, but here's the thing. I feel like it's an essential skill, and it is the prerequisite to macro counting and calorie counting. Because here's the thing, if you know macro counting and calorie counting, but you're overeating, it's not going to do you any good, okay? Because you're just going to continue to overindulge, and then you're probably going to over diet as a result, and you're going to ping pong back and forth. So that's why I always say mindful eating and moderation are the prerequisite to macro counting and calorie counting, okay? Very important to know the difference between physical hunger and emotional hunger, and also like being able to check in with your hunger and be like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, where am I with my hunger? On a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied did my last meal leave me? So asking yourself questions like this is not only going to help you become more aware of like your hunger and your fullness cues, but also this is really where it comes in very handy. What it can do, it can actually stop the knee-jerk reaction that we talked about in day 2. We talked about how a lot of us are on autopilot. That is our subconscious. So we talked about how, have you ever like driven to work or driven somewhere and you're like, I don't even remember driving here. That's subconscious because you've done this over and over and over for years. You've driven the same route, maybe for months, and it just starts to become kind of subconscious. So you're not having to consciously think about it, right? Because it's such a habit that you don't even have to really think about it, right? You don't have to critically think about it or consciously think about it. It's just kind of like running in the background. Well, your eating is the same way. So this is why if you're in your 40s or your 50s or 60s and you feel like my nutrition is actually worse, like you would think that with time it would get better. No, for a lot of women, it doesn't. It actually gets worse in our 40s and 50s. Why? Because we're under a lot of stress, first of all, right? We have a lot of stressors. We might be taking care of aging parents. We might still be knee deep in raising kids. We might be at a point in our career where every day you're putting out fires, right? These things affect your mood, and your mood, your emotional state is going to trigger the decisions that you make, right? Like, I think we can all agree that when things are fine and dandy, then we're going to be less tempted to do things like binge eat or overeat on something, right? We're less likely to say, fuck this, right? So that's what we need to remember, is that our emotional state is going to dictate the decisions that we make. So that's why for a lot of us, binge eating gets worse. And not only that, again, it becomes a habit loop, right? Your brain remembers. Your brain's like, oh, remember when we ate that thing? Oh, but like it's 9 o'clock it's 9 o'clock and we do this every night. Like this is just what we do, right? And then over time, you're training your brain to believe that this is the solution, that eating this food is solving a problem for you, is solving problems for you, right? So let me know if this is making sense. Pop a thumbs up in the chat. Ask me any questions that you might have on this subject, but that's exactly why it feels like your binge eating is getting worse, because it probably is. You probably have more cravings, especially with perimenopause. And then in addition, it's just been a habit loop, because a lot of us have been doing this for a long time. It might have started in your 20s or 30s or whatever, but even just a couple months of binge eating can become very subconscious. So it almost feels like it's automated. So that's why mindful eating is so helpful for losing weight and getting binge eating under control and quieting cravings, because instead of like what we're doing, instead of just doing this habit loop that goes down, right, every day or every week or whatever, we are disrupting it, right, by checking in with our hunger, our fullness cues, how satisfied we feel. All of these factors, okay, is going to help you stop in the moment, okay, and stop that knee-jerk reaction for reaching for food. This is why this shit is so powerful. It's not woo-woo. It freaking works. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about mindful eating. I have a very simple tool that you guys can start implementing immediately to get you relief, to help you feeling better, stop binge eating, and lose the weight for good. So really appreciate you guys being here, and drop any comments that you have. Drop those preemptive cheats, and I will see you tomorrow for day 5. All right, see you then.